Hi, hello, and welcome to the Galactic Report brought to you by Vertex of Abundance. My name is Serene Threesis. I'll be your oracle today. I was sent to deliberate the findings for the Stargate portal, which is the 1010. It's going to be on the 10th of the 10th month, October, and that's in the Gregorian calendar. If you're new, welcome. If you are returning, welcome back. It's a delight and an honor and a privilege to serve you. Thank you for allowing us the pleasure to do so. If anything resonates deeply with you, go ahead and comment, share, subscribe, leave a review, book a session, send a donation. You belong to Welcome Home. Vertex of Abundance is the galactic temple of ascension, delivering sacred messages from behind the veil. Again, if anything resonates deeply with you, go ahead and smash that like button. If you can do that right now, please and thank you. We will be imposing the guidance from Thoth Tarot, that's by Lady Frida Harris and Aleister Crowley, published by US Game Systems. Just a quick prayer for all those still lost out there to illusion, delusion, confusion, lost in the sea of the time, trapped somewhere in the matrix, yet to heal, yet to awaken, yet to return to the resplendent grace of the divine, unconditional love and universal oneness. Anapana, great spirit, we love you. We're sorry. Please forgive us. Thank you. We ask that our steps be ordered, our path be illuminated, and that we find salvation and redemption in this lifetime. May we be happy, may we be whole, may we be at peace, may we receive everything we ever wanted, starting with what we deserve. There's some type of argument or yeah, let me just catch my breath because I'm getting something. And I might have swapped these cards, replaced them. I don't actually know. I just immediately when it came out, I was getting something. So sometimes the magician can be some type of operator. Is you're normally like one who's just starting, or who's newer in the craft, or who is in this area of using intellect, reasoning, communication, or talents, crafts, abilities. So it's usually like a beginning, or they're like co- constructing, grafting, something along those lines. And craft doesn't always need to be like a craft work, witchcraft, statecraft, warcraft, tradecraft, even Minecraft. It could be scheming, currying favor, counting votes, things along those lines. It's not always, even a person who's doing like climbing, social climbing, or clout chasing. It doesn't always have to be like craft work, abracadabra, brujeria, santeria, hocus pocus, chanting at an altar, lighting candles. Doesn't always have to be all of that. It very much can be, and it oftentimes is, especially with an 8 and a 10 here, especially since the 10 is a wands. When you see the tower and the magician, oftentimes it alludes to some type of argument. It's just about what it is, how it is. Now, it could be a shouting match. It could be a verbal attack. It could be saying something that backfires. It's the proverbial stick foot in your mouth, especially with this 10 of Wands. There's some type of karmic cycle, especially how this is organized here. There may be Saturn in Sagittarius. A revelation can come from a karmic cycle where someone sees the nature of their ways or how they're handling something or how they're navigating socially. It seems like over the last 2 weeks, there's been some detachment in some kind of way, shape, form, or another because of intellect, reasoning, communication, or drive, desires, passions, motivations, some type of willpower or intent. I'm going to do a clarification. We'll be using the Vida Sibila Daily Oracle by Los Garabeo to clarify the findings to deliberate the findings around correlative and corresponding energy. We'll be clarifying corresponding energy through this deck. Fantula came out. So yeah, it could have been something. I just heard the word unhealed, unawakened, which doesn't make sense because we don't have the Seven of Cups here yet. And the Fantula is not, it's a virgin. Okay, Giovanni Fantula is virgin. It doesn't always mean chastity. Oftentimes it doesn't. It means inexperience, something that didn't happen yet. This person's not married. But virgin doesn't mean chaste. It could mean inexperience because also the age that this card came, virgin meant somebody that didn't require a male in order to sustain themselves. It wasn't always a husband. It could have been an older brother, an uncle, or a father just to, have their bills paid. And normally in the time that this card was made, that women couldn't really be independent without the aid of a male. So it could be that something's building up in the background, some type of bond or union is building up in the background where, because I'm hearing this thing where it's almost as if we're uncontrollable or we won't fit in or we won't get in line or we won't be reasonable. Now, this other thing that I'm getting is that something is trying to topple us over, knock us down, tear us up, tear us apart. And it's tear us down, tear us apart. And it's more and along the lines of they've been trying to get in and things are about to click into place where we're in alignment. However, there's this jab, it's this successive, repetitive jab to see like where they can dislodge us or where we're faulting, where they can catch us tripping or catch us slipping even. And it's the whole proverbial, where's the chink in your armor? Where's your weak spot? Let me circle the block, spin the block, walk the perimeter to see where, there's a loose thread that can be pulled on, where there's an open window that could be snuck in, where there's like an unlocked door that could be, crept in at night, where there's an unguarded gate that I could just come barreling through or the determinal point is that, and the thing with Fanchula is, yes, she may be chaste, virginal, whatever, what have you, but it doesn't mean that she can't flirt. It doesn't mean that she's, not very beautiful, all those things. It's just that the refinement, if there is any, does not come through life experience. It comes from innate abilities, and it oftentimes needs to be noticed that there might be a lack of innate ability because there's a lack of experience. So we might not just have known better. We might not have clocked something. There might have been this expectation that we knew something that we didn't. We might have been adultified. We might have been exceptionalized. And this expectation was never expressed. We might be held accountable for something that we were never made accountable for. The whole you should know, you should know. Well, we were never told. And actually, a matter of fact, we don't know. And yeah, maybe we coulda, shoulda, woulda, but we don't, and that's what's up. And we're willing to cop to something or whatever, what have you, but it needs to be said out loud so we can handle up. And yeah, times are changing, wills are turning, times are changing. There's a lot of, because you have the King of Wands, or here it's Bastione, Baton, clubs, and the Queen of Clubs. Giovanni Fancilla is the Queen of Wands. So she's very, I heard the word high and mighty. This is not making sense, but that's what I heard. But she's high vibrational, bigger, brighter, and better, bold, probably has something to defend. Typically, it's because there's a lot of energy, usually low vibration, that comes petitioning, 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 petitioning for time, energy, effort, and attention without the requisite energy exchange. You want my time, energy, effort, and attention. You're not disclosing your intention. You want my attention. You're not disclosing your intention. You're not disclosing your needs. When a person withholds their intent, there's usually deception around the corner. So I'm getting a lot that I haven't seen in the cards yet. I'm so curious to see where this goes. Because this is us opening up. There's some communication breakdown or some kind of attack. Attack doesn't always mean, knock down, drag out, or, sweep your door with salt, or you hear what I'm saying? It might, let's take a look here. Because now we have a double nine. And a double nine, now we'll be using the minor arcana from the Cosmic Coven Tarot by Lisa Lazenby at Ripe Avocado. There's a double nine, which usually means the need to take some space. There is a completion of something going on. There may very well be some type of cabal, or there may very well be some type of plan, coordination, collaboration, co-creation. Okay. It's because we're exalted in some kind of way. There's something innate in us that we were born with, Six of Wands, so some glory that's been bestowed upon us. And there's some energy, entity, ideology in the environment, surrounding location that might be of an oppositional stance. They may be of an opposing mind. And again, this is like also a no or a closed road. Something's not able to come towards us, access us. They've been barred or blocked or bulked back, bulk. I'm hearing that word, bulk, in some kind of way. And they're coming with with the riz, the charisma, whatever it is, whatever that looks like, so on and so forth. And honestly, it's a no. It's a no. They're getting a no. And we're feeling triumphant. We're feeling a leader exalted. And they're feeling like, since I couldn't come through, pull through, come hard, come harder in my own little natural way, if you were natural at all, they were authentic, genuine, sincere at all. So now I've got to spin the block and do this little work, this little strategy, this little agenda, this little operandi, this little tactic. I've got to come at you in collective. I've got to curry public opinion because my little way wouldn't work, or my little opinion didn't matter. So now I got to go gang up on you. That's what this is giving. Somebody has an agenda and they're going to mount some type of defense. That's what this is giving. Somebody here is salty. Now, I started this reading salty because I wanted to use a different deck, and Spirit told me not to. During the Stargate, I love to use the Star Code Oracle, and then like, no. Open up a portal, look through the window. Let me look at you. So there's just a lot of lunar energy I'm picking up on. I want to check that. Yeah, you see, La Nemica. Something is here. It's oppositional, it's adversarial, it's competing. It has a little ego. It's feeling entitled. They want to sneak a tweak around. They don't want to come correct. They don't want to be straightforward. A falsita with el enemigo. This is a nemesis that wants to get us stuck in some kind of way, shape, form, or another. But in fact, they're stuck because we vibing and thriving. Speranza, the cultivated beauty who's refined and has hope, faith in a bigger, brighter, and better future. While this little mofo, Regione Falsita, with El Nemico. So they see that we got that juice, we got that base, and they want some of this, and they can't come get this. Okay, they can't be about no nothing. That's what's up. They're sideways, sneaky, trifling, treacherous, treasonous, seditious, something of that nature. And I know I'm layering on thick these adjectives, but this is what's coming through. This is what I'm picking up. This is what I'm sensing, what I'm feeling, what I'm seeing. There's some type of, okay, and I'm hearing the word mentiroso, so they may be a liar. Because I was thinking, this is a communication breakdown, some type of argument. Because normally the magician and the death card mean communication breakdown. There's no talking right now, probably. But we have the magician and the tower, which meant, oh, there's an argument. And I wonder if there's silence. So what I'm being told is, and it's toxic, It's toxic. When a person gives you the silent treatment, or just basically withdraws communication, to punish, it's toxicity. When a person withdraws communication to heal, it's boundaries. And so it's not that we're bounded, it's that we're bounded. We just have self-worth and value and our own standards and boundaries and needs. And something can't come through, can't pierce the veil, can't erode our boundaries or, assail the mountain because they don't have the stuff. They're not made of what it takes. Now, I'm speaking about this as if it's a one-on-one because it probably is, because Libra season is when we deal with enemies that may not come off like enemies, that might not be language that we use or whatever, but this is oppositional forces. And it is the time, it is the season, it is the time when the veil is thinnest when it comes to things that are of an opposing mind. That they want to turn our yes into a no, or they want to impose a no onto what we're about and how we go around. I'm just going to come out and say it because I can't ignore this. I can be colorful and describe the same thing in 5 different ways. It's not called for that. There will be a light at the end of the tunnel, death and the moon. But we're dealing with some type of orchestration, machination. 3 of Pentacles said that as well. There's some type of agenda here. And over the next week, we'll see that there's some kind of massive entitlement. Now, we've made it in some kind of way, shape, form, or another. We're highly blessed, favored, chosen, anointed. And in the afterlife, we've already accomplished and achieved the things that we need. And, sometimes an individual, an energy comes towards us and they sense greatness in us. I'm just going to jump right to it. We can use whatever language doesn't offend our ego when I say that. And upon further inspection, because like recognizes like attracts like, real recognizes real, they can't discern what is it about us that actually makes us great. And so there's this whole misattribution, mislabel, misjudge, misperceive, mistake, misuse, mistreat. It's basically the dilute, diminish, distort, disown, deject, destroy, defame. When really it's dereliction, meaning a lack of skillfulness. Wish it were just ineptitude, but it's dereliction. It's a failure to perform a duty because they're not doing their work. That's what it is. So instead of like attracting like, real recognizing real, their eyes were covered by the divine because they came around something they couldn't. It's the proverbial cut the golden goose open to get more eggs than the one a day. Or that you had a piece of diamond in your hand and you traded it for a piece of glass because it was more sparkly. Sometimes a diamond comes in a rough, or sometimes you don't have the prerequisite skills, language-based knowledge structure to recognize or navigate, negotiate, or remain present and participate. That's just how it goes. That's how the game be. Sometimes player. But you see, they're going to take that as a personal injury from some external source and wage war, whether it's covert, overt, aggressive, microaggressive, whatever, what have you, so on and so forth. It's the scheming. That's what I'm picking up. I'm going to stop apologizing, but that's what I'm getting. That's what I'm getting. Yeah, so fortune smiled upon them. They might not have gotten the message. And I'm saying them, I'm anthropomorphizing the major energy that, see, disgrazia. They make piss poor decisions is what this is giving. The major theme here for this little portal is that we're gonna be in spaces and places, or we're gonna come up out of these places and spaces where we've been mislabeled, miscategorized. And we're gonna begin to see just how disproportionate the cycle that we've been in actually is. We might not be long. We've been surviving when we should be thriving. The space that's being held for us, we actually don't even fit into. That's what it is. That's what it's looking like. So there might be some cruelty if there is a baneful intent here. It's bitterness actually, regioni, and I'm getting this energy of something. It likes it when we're stuck because perhaps just maybe we'll be more interested or open or accessible to this energy that we once left. See, there's this intention to get us into a place of despair. They want anxiety, they want entitlement and bitterment. They want us to have our hopes dashed so that we'll let this heartless energy in. It's not mutually beneficial nourishing needs exchange. It's detached. It's devoid. It's a vacant, vapid, vacillous void. I'm just going to come out and say it. Where their heart should be, there's not a lot there. Well, let's get to it. It doesn't mean that they can or whatever, what have you, is that there's something is broken. And that's not a judgment. And like I say, blessings to your healing, peace be upon you. It's going to leave that right there because it's not looking good. You have all this good right in the middle, but on the bookends where it comes and goes, it doesn't have anything. It's like you could be walking down the street to give somebody $1 million check, but if there's a roadblock everywhere and there's no egress, ingress, or you're driving down the road to go give somebody their rent money, but if the roads are blocked, or you could be walking down the hill to give somebody a bucket of water, but if there's a hole in the bucket, by the time you get to the bottom of the hill, there's not a lot to share. There's not a lot to give. There's not a lot to gift. This is that kind of circumstance. There's no way in for authentic, genuine, and sincere. There's only despair and regret. And the reason is because that hole in their heart is a God-sized hole. Only God is going to fill it. There it is. So using our intuition, using our gracious, exalted influence over this entire cycle is what's going to give us the bigger, brighter, and better, the hopes, wishes, dreams, heart's desires, soul's ambitions. The thing about this is that we've got to go towards truth, and the truth is being delivered to us. If we keep trying to make it work or make it different, make it anything other than what it is, that's when we're going to have lots and lots and lots of difficulty. It's like a head against a concrete wall. Let me just tell you, in relationship dynamics, especially when it's disconcordant in frequency, energy, vibration, especially when the vibe is whack, okay? The first little stage is when another person's wilding out and we're over here trying to give all this love and they're just like ooga booga, mixed scary, vomiting pea soup head turning around on its swivel. If we're angry, it's because we want to fix something. And then usually we evolve out of that, we mature out of that, and then we just recognize how many differences that there are. Because after we start recognizing how different this other person is than what we are, because those first two, wanting to fix or change, and then just dwelling on the differences, those two often lead to critique, and that's one of the four horsemen in a connection. Then we get to this place where we're like, they're like this because of this. So we like do a rationality, or we just have a reason for everything. And that's actually great for our own understanding. We don't need to go and engage or go around and explain. Because I say this often, you're not getting your needs met, you're not getting your standards met. So it's not that this person was crappy to us because they grew up in a household with douchebaggery and they just inherited from the dad. Or this person's not giving the time of day because they're working 80 hours a week. At the bottom line, at the end of the day, at the top of the night, or whatever, what have you, we're not getting our needs and standards met. So the reasons are to help for the compassion piece. They're not going to carry anything forward. Compassion enough is not enough. Not when it's a two-sided. The last is logic. So that's the 4 steps. And we were in this earlier stage for a while. The why of the why of the why. Rationalizing, trying to fix it, putting all our time, energy, effort, and attention to make it different than what it is. A lack of an action is an action. A lack of a choice is a choice. A lack of a decision is a decision. Multiple of similar outcomes, meaning we're left wanting, hoping, wishing, praying for something other than what it is. It is indicative of a future. We can't be giving our heart to a situation where another person's not giving their heart as well. You know, when you leave yourself open to everything, especially emotionally, will become a vessel for dark energy. There always needs to be discernment. So the thing here is that we were in this place of thinking like we could pray it away, or we can make it better, we can love on them and nurture them, or whatever, what have you. When really, actually, the freedom out of this situation was when we just called it what it was. And we can completely accept who they are. 100%, you want to be a curmudgeon, you want to be hot-headed, you want to be vacant, vapid, and vassalless, you want to be anything other than loving, caring, generous, and kind, and accountable, great. If that works for you, wonderful. We don't have to tolerate it. We can love unconditionally and still not tolerate. And see, that's the healing that was needed here. And it's because then, and only then, once we took advantage of the truth, some kind of exaltation came. The vectoring and progression of our exaltation is what came to the fore. Period. That's kind of how this reads. And the narrative around that is something in us will be recognized once it's no longer there. And see, this is a dangerous game for somebody who's trying to fix another person. And I wish I could say it differently, but oftentimes earlier on, before we're fully healed or further down the track of healing, before we really lean deeply into the work, let me say it that way, we think leaving them will teach them a lesson. So if we're leaving, looking back over our shoulder, wondering if they're catching up, it's not real leaving. It's performative. So we don't leave to teach them a lesson. We leave because we learned our own lesson. If for some reason they catch up, and there was this, if for some reason they catch up, and there was no deception, and there was no malice, maybe. And that's a very maybe. That's a very maybe. But maybe. Because we're feeling open, we're feeling loving. But see, what we're needing is for the proper work to be done. 7 of Pentacles, Queen of Pentacles. We need them to put energy, effort, and attention into something. It's saying here that over the next week, there's going to be some type of revelation in the sense of accomplishment. Something's going to be birthed here, and I think it's self-worth and value. Something's going to be seen. There's going to be some kind of recognition. And honestly, a person needs to be sorry because they're remorseful. They regret what they've done. I'm getting when something does look like it's being reconciled, it's not real. There's regret here, not remorse. So they feel sorry because they're losing something. They feel sorry because they got caught. They feel sorry because there was a consequence. I don't know what this portal, Stargate portal, is telling us on 10/10, which is October 10th. I'm getting that we're going to see the reason to cut people off. This is a general reading. It can't be a blanket statement for everybody. But that's what I'm getting. We're going to see the reason to say, no, 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 no. That's what I'm getting. I'm even hearing that song. I don't want to sing the whole, it's the Destiny's Child song. No, 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 no. And yeah, it's easy. Like when you're loving, caring, and kind, it's really easy to get back. And it doesn't mean that we don't have discernment, that we don't know better. But we root for people. We want the best for people. But we're dealing with people that don't. This little portal, we're dealing with people that don't want the best for us, and that's going to be the hardest lesson. And this prophesies. This is a long-term plan. It took the divine a long time to get this through our head. So it's saying that in the last couple of days, it's already started. We're harvesting. We're reaping our own. Because over the next 3 weeks, we're going to spend a lot of time searching, searching, searching. And we're going to discover that there wasn't much there when we were holding on forever. These are spiteful, spiteful, spiteful energies we're dealing with. And they're just going to have what's called, I'm going to use the language, my apologies. They're going to have a toxic collapse. Their toxic tendencies are not going to have the same efficacy that they normally did, at least with us. And they're going to spiral out. They're going to crash out. They're going to point fingers, cast aspersions, blame. They're going to make other energies, entities, ideologies responsible for their own results. When they should have been coming from the heart, Jack of Hearts, heart on the sleeve, authentic, genuine, sincere, being about what they were about, saying their needs, saying their intentions. They were everything but forthcoming with what they wanted and what they needed. That's a strategy. That's an agenda. That's probably deception if you're hiding your intention. Okay. Yeah, see, this is corruption. Something here is it's fundamentally flawed. Vow breaking, oath breaking, covenant breaking, or corruption. Yeah, so this is somebody that can't move on, move forward. They can't be about what they're about. They can't. Okay, I'm going to tell you what's giving me this because I keep going too fast here. So when you have the La Papa Hierophant and the devil, it means corruption or oath breaking, vow breaking. Since these two come out together, it also creates the number 20. So that's the principality, some type of throne, and it's a dark throne. It's a dark principality. Then you have the devil with the seven of swords. So the seven of swords now is reversed. Or it's fake devil. So they might come off, because the seven gives an imposter energy. So they might come off covert. They might come off lame. They might come off stupid, but it's an act. They know exactly what they're doing, period, point blank. I need a different combination to have that story apply that they don't know any better. Oh, they know better. It might even be intentional. Let me take it a step further. They see the darkness, they can't undo it, they can't do the work. They actually might want to live there. They have this fanaticism, this envy, this ego, this greed, this entitlement. They've been given options to move on, move forward. They can't move forward. They can't put the work in, or they actually don't have what it takes to cross the river Styx and get up out of that dark realm. Delante. They continue to miss the gravy boat. When the work is there, the opportunity is there, the know-how, when the support and the system is there, the structure, they lack the curiosity, investigation, examination, or the self-reflection, self-accountability to get up out of there. Okay, yes, maybe there might be some kind of Mars in the 10th house, Mars in Capricorn, but other than that, there's just a no. It's just a no. And this has been going on for 3 months, where they've been called, invited by the divine, by the universe to get up and to move forward, but they don't. So over the next week, what's going to happen is a lot of abandonment. That's why I'm saying the narcissistic collapse. This is a therapeutic space, but not a clinical space. But that toxic collapse, where the supply that they have dries up suddenly, it wasn't suddenly. But since this is a cycle of everything and everyone around them wising up to the partnerships, agreements, relationships of opposition where we're getting our needs met in concordance with another person, there's a lot of wising up to that. And suddenly, just suddenly, all of a sudden, all the places where they went to have supply, they don't exist anymore. So they not just run out of supply, but they also realize that people were not as gullible, were not as stupid, were not as much of a mark as they were believed to be. In fact, that was short-sighted because just like recognizes like, real recognizes real. So a good-hearted person is going to attract other good-hearted people. And when they don't, it's a lesson from the divine. But here's the thing. A thief thinks other people are stealing. A liar thinks everybody is lying. So in that sense, your eyes also get covered to what's really there. If a person comes and tries to give you their heart, but you don't have an open heart and a clean spirit, you're going to think there's something behind that. So what happens? Your eyes are covered to the good thing so that only the bad thing can come into your life until one day that one bad thing does you so wrong, so dirty, it breaks you or busts you open. The wound is where the light shines through. Sometimes in order for your heart to open up, it's got to be broken open. And believe it or not, that collapse that they go through, see, they're stuck with resentment for a while. And it's going to come in very suddenly from somebody that they trusted. And that's the thing. This preciose, it means the precious presence. It actually means the heart of the matter. So it's because they were wicked. Five of Swords with the Emperor card means they're wicked. They're arch level demon. So they're intentional about what they do. They like harming in some kind of way, shape, form, or another. They might not be doing harm or doing bad or hurting people, but it could mean that whatever strategy, tactic, modus operandi, however they get around, go about things, that they liked it, it worked for them, they enjoyed it, it brought them joy. King of, I mean, Knight of Cups, that their heart is actually in getting over on things, getting over on people, or doing, being vicious. The thing about the Five of Cups is that this hatred comes because there was once love. And I said Five of Cups. Um, that means they're bereft, they're devoid of the love that they once felt. Because they're feeling miserly, literally. Pages are feeling this. The Four of Pentacles is the miser card. So they're feeling like they need to hold on to everything, and what they do is they kill everything. They don't let anything breathe. They smother the life of things because they can't trust. And when you have this means there's demonic energy there. The Justice card with the devil. Because they should have built their life out of righteous principles, Emperor and the Hierophant. And for some reason, they got the devil. So I thought that was going to take forever. I don't think it did. Let's go ahead and close this out. Ooh, we getting these cards today. Yeah, Leo, shine. That's what we have to do because we're coming into balance here and we're actually immersing ourselves in exploring what our higher minded principles are. And about that, this other side, they're going to get a lot of messages. It's not always going to be pleasant. It says first house in messages. So first house is arrival, but it's also life, past, spirit, karma, destiny. And messages, Mercury, that's the soul incarnate in the body, like the spirit. And so Neptune, that's also the divine. It's going to come through from higher minded spiritual principles, galactic principles, community, 11th house. So they're going through a journey. Once we leave, once we go on the path, once we align to where we need to be, it's going to leave behind some energies that need to think about the choices that they've made and who they've become because of the choices that they've made. It's been a pretty straightforward reading. It's been an honor and a pleasure to serve. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to do so. Go ahead and take great care of yourself. Smash that like button until we meet again, until we read again. Namaste, Dandava, and Ashe. Sayonara, das vidanya, Wiedersehen. Take good care. Bye-bye.